busy month, October, for getting out and about, and certainly for between Eileen and I, and
I
John.
haven't been in the office at all.
But what we thought we'd do is just bring you a selection of stuff that's been going on, which we just think that you might want to be kept in the know about. And yeah, so first thing right at the beginning of the month, service catalogue project. We've not had an update on this for quite a while. So Eileen.
Right then, so Lindsay's got the button, so she's got to press 3 buttons, kind of one at a time, but we kind of do them pretty quickly. So only because I tried to kind of what not acronyms, that's not the word, but some way of kind of saying what we're doing. So the service catalogue project has definitely gotten its stride. Yes, we've now got a regular drum beat, click, and we are now cooking on gas. There we go. There's my lovely free kind of sayings for a Friday. We're busy kind of working through all of the various sections. We've made a decision to group the services aligned to the competencies in the competence framework. So there's a kind of a clearer link between these are the competencies you need and these are the types of services that you can provide once you've got those competencies. So we made that decision. What's starting to happen now is that individuals of the working group are taking those service areas and are running supplementary meetings. So the main tranche, we have 1 week in one meeting a week. So it could be an afternoon, it could be an evening. We do 1 face-to-face meeting a month, which is Lindsay came along to watch us there. And then we'll have a kind of a progress meeting to keep us on track. So we're starting, different people who are in the group are starting to kind of roll out and kind of do groups themselves now. If we go on to the next slide, essentially this is what our working group looks like. Yes, we have a few of us who've actually worked really, really hard to get us to where we are, but there is lots of room for people to join us. And when we started off doing the project, we thought, well, we'd have some people who kind of been there, seen it before, and kind of do the overall guidance piece. And then we'd have lots of other people join us who had done service catalogues before to actually contribute to developing and actually articulating some of those services. So what we found is a couple of really interesting things is that because we've got kind of a few more senior people on the group, we've almost kind of forgotten about what it is to be a PMO analyst sometimes. And so we're quite used to kind of delivering some of those kind of portfolio management services. But actually we need much more work thinking about actually what some of the analysts and what some of the administrators do. So we're actually looking for anybody and everybody, whatever level you work within a PMO, you would be more than welcome to join the working group. I think the other thing that that we're starting to recognise is that it doesn't matter how junior or senior you are, this is a development activity. We are all learning lots and lots as we go through. Some of those kind of conversations and those discussions really help us to develop new knowledge and really kind of think about what we do, why we do it, how we do it, and some useful things that we're going to be incorporating into the service catalogue, into the next version of the service catalogue. The other thing I would say is that you know, you can come and you can contribute. And if you're looking, I know I was going to say, if you're looking kind of thing, well, I've done the PMO training courses, I'm really looking for something to kind of really develop my skills and knowledge, then actually this is a great place for a development activity for you over the next year. So it doesn't have to be that you're kind of developing a service catalogue for your organisation. It literally is just, I want to learn a little bit more. I love the way Lindsay's moving me on because we've got a lot to do. So just to make it clear about kind of where you volunteer for that. So if you go to the House of PMO, look under publications and it says the PMO service catalogue project working group, you'll just fill in a form. What we ask people are that they're at least a free member. I will send you out an NDA agreement and then you'll be signed up. I'll do a quick briefing session and then you can kind of join us in the game. There's a few people on the call, they'll tell you what a fantastic
fantastic
activity it is to be involved in, and you'll have your name in the book, even better.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. We also got asked to go and talk at Sciforma keyed in and their user conference, which was fascinating on many different reasons. It's always good to hear how PMO people what they're doing in terms of utilizing their tools. And interestingly, for this user group conference, I would say that 95% of the people in that room were PMO people. So that tells you a lot about who's the user of these tools. We went along and did a session about emerging trends at the lovely Waldorf Hotel in London. Not just about the emerging trends there and standing up there and saying this is what's coming down the line and we all need, it's actually how to actually handle it. It's all right just saying, this is going to be a thing, go and work out what it is that you're doing. We did make sure that we talked about how to handle some of these things. And I think what Eileen and I will probably do is run that session again, because it wasn't recorded. We've never done that session before. And really, really fascinating feedback as well from people that are in that room. I think out of all of them, in terms of what resonated the most. Eileen, can you remember in the afternoon when we started to do the World Cafe, which we're going to lead on to here, but if you looked around the room as to how many people were around the tables, which one was the most popular? Do you remember?
I think it was the delivery frameworks, was it not?
It was all about enabling PPM stuff, but yes, talking about the fact that there's so many different ways to deliver a project, i.e. skin a cat, but how PMO people are dealing with that. So again, we'll have some insights. I think we'll run that session for the wider community, because I think there was some really interesting feedback that came out of it as well. So yes, it was delivery frameworks, because in the afternoon we had this thing called the PMO World Cafe, and for anybody who's been in and around House of PMO Flash Mob over the years, you'll know that we've done this a couple of times. And all it is having people around the table with a paper tablecloth that you can write on. And basically getting people to talk about certain things. And what we've done then from the emerging trends is take each one of those and allow people to come together and to talk about what this means for both them. So what is it that you're feeling right now in terms of yourself? What about what your organization might be doing around some of these things? And also moving forwards, what might be needed within your PMO, within your organization. So this was the delivery framework one. And again, just to give you the insight of what kind of stuff that people are talking about around the table. So this one here about where, where people feel they are at the moment, you can see, yes, some of it was around waterfall and agile, but actually we'd also talked about DevOps coming in to play here, and product management and as well. So those were again, some of the insights coming out of the people around the table in terms of what they were feeling around some of these emerging trends. Again, what's the organization doing around some of these things? Interesting to see that word that I love, value. But talking again, just I suppose to highlight the different types of organizations, the different types of PMOs around the table, and what it is that they're doing and what it is that they're supporting. Interestingly, even though this was a user conference for people for using a particular tool, you can see there that still, even though you might have the PPM tool dream, your organization is utilizing many more. And again, it's good practice around some of that kind of stuff lacking within the organizations. But looking forward, so looking for some of the practical things in terms of what can be done in terms of the kind of delivery frameworks, the use of them, the mandated, the flexibility allowed around them, all of that kind of thing. There's probably nothing there that will feel unfamiliar to you. I think you'll probably guess that you'd probably be talking about some of these things if you were sat around that table as well. Eileen, any Any thoughts from you in terms of when you were looking at some of this, some of the outcomes for these?
Well, I think that it wasn't necessarily in terms of the delivery framework. What when we'll come on and touch about a bit more is this kind of CSR and regulation in terms of somebody actually wrote on the table, good luck with it because I don't know what it's about. But the delivery framework, what there's going to be a couple more as we go through the rest of the activities. So a couple of other things that kind of come up and a couple of events that will kind of will feed on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Also good, obviously, to hear from other people and they're talking about their PMO, as we know and love from PMO conference. That's what we always, we like to hear how other people are doing it. This one here is Pets at Home. So Anna from Pets at Home was talking about their PMO journey. They're quite a quick one, really, coming on board in 2021 and not having anything in place into doing lots of good stuff. And I think just to reiterate, I think we see these slides quite a lot. Certainly when we do PMO conference sessions, when people are talking about, our journey, what we've done and all that kind of thing, these come up regularly about having a purpose, having a value, having a vision, and then a clear definition about what the role is from the PMO. We say every time, does your organization, does your PMO have something like that? And again, there's just another example for you to have a look at and to mull over and to think, actually, yeah, that's a really nice piece there. But I think I really like the story and what it is that achieved in such a short amount of time. But I'm going to try and grab her for PMO conference next year in June, so you can hear the story, because it is pretty good. It is quite a nice way that they've been going about things. Plus, it's about dogs and cats and pets. So that's lovely.
What's not to love?
Indeed. So yeah, and then on to something else. Eileen.
We were invited to go and do a similar thing with program framework, a slightly kind of a smaller, less kind of flash affair than the Waldorf. Something locally in Birmingham, so local for me. So Lindsay came down to Birmingham, and they were talking about the various kind of tools available from Microsoft to cover different projects and people who did project management. We went and talked a little bit about friction between the PMO and delivery teams. And obviously, the big thing is to kind of about friction is about the differentiation between kind of friction and conflict. And what we're really talking about is kind of intellectual friction, not rubbing each other up the wrong way. And it's quite interesting in terms of kind of how that can be used to best effect. So a talk is available within our library if you want to go and have a look at it. But just a couple of points that I pulled out, not necessarily just in relation to our talk, but in terms of some of the conversations we had with the people who were in the room. Quite interestingly, not everybody's heard about House of People. How can that be? We must have printed thousands of stickers at least to kind of ask the question. But so it was nice to kind of get out to a new audience. There was definitely the feel, and again, this kind of starting to come up time and time again. My favourite word, ubiquitous, which I would have put on the slide if I could spell it. But everybody's doing projects now. And from Microsoft perspective, what they're trying to do is to get a tool for everybody. And it's just important we choose the right one. And I think the other thing that's starting to kind of really hit amongst our radar is, what is our role across, the people who are kind of what we would call professional project managers who do that day in, day out. And what is that for? What support do we give to people who are kind of just delivering things which are as part of their day job, kind of things that they've classed as a project because it has that old definition of a start, a middle, and an end. And the type of kind of intellectual friction we have at those kind of different layers will be quite different, and therefore our views are going to have to be quite different. And again, we've got another webinar coming up talking about the accidental project manager, these people who kind of doing projects, never really want to be a project manager, just part of their day job, coming up, which will be interesting to see again how that support is delivered from a PMO perspective. I think the other thing is as well is looking at this kind of tools for everybody, how many of those tools are actually supported by the PMO, because a lot of them are now, kind of the planner tool that they were talking about is actually in everybody's Outlook 365. So yes, it's only when you get to the kind of the more the detailed kind of planning project tools that the PMO get involved. So I think it's the kind of the potential for kind of growth, but potentially losing control of what's happening in the PMO scope is going to be interesting over the next 3 to 5 years, I suspect.
Not even 3 to 5 years, because this one here was the one that got everybody in.
Microsoft Copilot is evolving from your personal AI assistant to your team AI assistant. Introducing Team Copilot, a new valuable team member helping everyone achieve more together. You'll be able to add Copilot as a meeting facilitator, taking notes during the discussion that everyone can edit and add during the meeting, along with follow-up tasks and actions for everyone to see. Sharing and managing the agenda with the team, keeping the conversation on track, and integration with Teams rooms ensures Copilot can continue taking notes, even for ad hoc meetings. You'll be able to add Copilot as a collaborator in chats, keeping everyone aligned with up-to-date insights as the conversation happens, and interacting with the team, responding to questions based on messages and shared files. You'll be able to add Copilot as a project manager, creating project plans with tasks and goals, and assigning them to team members. Copilot can also take on completing tasks on behalf of the group, notifying team members when input is needed, and facilitating group collaboration to complete the task. With Team Copilot evolving to provide team assistance, your team will be more productive, collaborative, and creative together. Microsoft Copilot.
Yeah, for everybody in the
Microsoft.
Let me get that. No more minute taking and all the rest of it. However, it's expensive, but these are the things, isn't it? It's yeah, it's an interesting one, but lots of pluses and minuses, I think. But it certainly got people in the room buzzing, because it was like, yes, we don't have to take minutes anymore, and we know how we all feel about that. But time on to something different then. So coming straight from Birmingham back up to Manchester, I got invited to the Digital Leaders Awards dinner. Basically, the House of PMO has its PMO competency framework is published by TSO, and TSO invited me along to join them at the awards dinner, just to make up numbers, really. Little did we know that with me that we're doing more than just making up numbers. Thank you very much. And finding out a bit more about what's going on in the wider world, certainly around things like digital transformation. And indeed, if you're not familiar with what digital transformation is, there it is. It's all about transforming businesses and using digital technology in order to do that across many different business areas. And look, there's that horrible word, value delivery. So I thought, right, what is this? This is going to be my bugbear, because I did actually, while I was having my dinner, somebody sat next to me from a consulting firm used the word value, and I'm like, well, we're not allowed to use that word. And it actually pulled him up, and he said, yeah, you're quite right. I'm not actually defining what I'm talking about here. But if you look in the definition of value delivery, that word benefit also comes out, because that's my bugbear. Value, benefits, it's all like people are using it interchangeably. Anyway, right, I'll stop talking about that. So I just thought it was interesting from the conversations that we were having around that table and meeting a few people that evening from obviously an industry. It is project management at the end of the day. They're just calling it digital transformation. It's a big portfolio of work, is it not? And luckily, there was somebody on the table that actually worked in a PMO, which was a really pleased to see. Exactly. Who was working for the Department for Work and Pensions. She was working and building PMOs for the DWP's Directorate for AI and Innovation. So, at least obviously there's some stuff going on in government. It just led me to think about actually what are some of the challenges that digital transformation sector, tribe, whatever you want to call them, these are some of their top challenges. And again, they don't look any different to any project, regardless of what sector you're in. They probably all look the same, but of course they've got that rapid technological advances that keep coming at them. Yeah, I just thought there should have been more PMO people in that room, because I think we can be helping some of these digital leaders, as they call them. Yeah, it was fascinating. I thought initially that I would have nothing to say, but actually it became apparent really quickly. that, yeah, it's just another area of industry that are also struggling with change, but of a technical nature. Which brings me on to another technical kind of advanced AI event. And I've actually got a couple of people here today that I notice have turned up. So do feel free to give me a couple of your insights, because I'd love it. If you want to put your camera on and take your mic off, I'd love that. Project Hack 23, surprising how many people still don't know that this exists and what it's all about. Very quickly is that there are obviously some things that are happening around the whole project data analytics and AI fields that are going to have big impact on project delivery. Projecting Success have been running Project Hack events for quite a while now. I think Eileen and I were probably at one of the first back in 2017. They're still going really strong. Who is there? Who wants to come in and tell me how it went? Sarah, are you still online?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, it went really well.
Hacking away. Which challenge were you working on?
So I did challenge 1 because it's a real life problem for me where senior leaders don't seem to like Microsoft project plans. They want it, taken into something like PowerPoint. So yes, that was the challenge that I did. And we got part of the way there. Didn't quite get to what I would have liked as the final solution, but really great couple of days. And if anybody fancies it, don't worry about whether you're technical or not, because actually some of the work is around defining what the final solution needs to be. And that's what we do all the time.
Yeah, no, perfect. I mean, you're doing it over 2 days. It's pretty full on. You've got to not only be thinking about the challenge, but you're meeting new people. So you've got to kind of gel together as a team. And you have got different challenges that are there that you can choose. You get to see what those challenges are before you arrive and look at what it is that they're trying to do. And essentially, you've got different types of people around the table. So they need the project people, which is obviously sort of Sarah's there. You'll have some people there that know their data, and you'll have people that know the kind of coding side of stuff. And it's about bringing all of those kind of people together in a place where you can have a bit of a play about, really. I mean, yes, you're trying to work on a challenge, but you're having that opportunity to do something where you're not necessarily going to get that within the organization. How often are the events? I think they're running them. I think it's probably we think the next one's in March, I believe. Is it 3 times a year-ish?
2 or 3 times a year, yeah.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Yeah, we will, keep telling you when the next ones are. And they've started moving around the country a little more. So the last one was Sheffield. This one's actually at Rolls-Royce in Derby. And we'll keep you posted. And what I'm also doing, I'm judging the outcomes of that hack event. So I'll be sharing that in our LinkedIn group as well, about what I thought were really interesting, and sharing some of the videos and all of that kind of good stuff. So yeah, really, really interesting things. But I weren't hacking this time. I was upstairs in Rolls-Royce meeting lots of other business leaders who are trying to figure out what they're doing within their organizations. And they were by and large people that work in major projects, which a little big breath for me, because obviously we're not all working in major projects. However, we are working in project delivery, and this is what it's all about. It is about the future of project delivery. Some of the work that we're doing in the back end around projecting success, about how we're going to change, the business, they are looking at different aspects and picking off different parts of project delivery. This is just one of them. Risk management is one of them. Scheduling is another, and assurance. Those are the top 3 at the minute that they're working on. And they're working on trying to think about, yes, the stuff that we can do about Horizon 1, about refining what it is we're doing in this area. Second horizon, enhance, is all about how we can bring some new things in and do interesting things. I don't know how clear that slide is, but I'm going to be sharing a bigger deck with you later on. But Horizon 3 is actually how can you completely reimagine these areas. So risk management, how can it be, how can we completely do it differently? Ways that we've never thought about before, because actually we never had that kind of technology. They're doing a lot of work, but it's a big ask. the feeling coming out of the room is that, you know, there's a lot of these things that are happening. Are we ready to share data amongst different companies? Are we ready to take open source stuff? That was one of the big ones, because the ask here from Projecting Success and what we're doing with the coalition. So the coalition is about businesses that want to come on board and start to drive these visions. The problems are with it is certainly with some of those people in the rooms about the competitive edge. You know, those commercial aspects to it, which, you know, to be fair, has been the thing over the last 5 years. Something that caught my eye, though, we know that it's going to be senior leaders that kind of need to start to understand some of this stuff, because it's a bit like PMO. You need the buy-in from upstairs. It's exactly the same with this kind of stuff. Are we going to be investing in the tools, the techniques, the skills uplifts that's needed, all of those kind of things? They have put together a one-day thing, which again, if it comes up in conversation within your organization, people don't know how to get their head around all of this kind of stuff. Perhaps that might be something that you want to check out. A lot more stuff coming out of those couple of days that I will share, and I think we'll be doing that in kind of make sure you're in the LinkedIn group. We're putting some stuff in the library, and of course we'll be sharing it in the newsletter as well. I just want to just do a really quick poll. I hope that it'll just give us time to do it, because in the evening it had it was a dinner for all these people that had been there, and I got asked this question by one of the PMO managers that was there from a utility organization. And she asked the question about, she is currently trying to work out what's the best approach. Do you bring in a project data analytics team subsection within the PMO, so bring in the kind of data analytic, you know, skills, or do you invest in the people that are doing the PMO role in order to bring them up to date in terms of the kind of advanced data analytics stuff? It's a real interesting, both have different pros and cons. Couldn't get into it over dinner, but I thought it's a really interesting question. I don't know what the answers are, and I just thought, well, we're here today doing this, so there's a question. Anybody who's put other, what's the other way? What's the third way? We'd love to know that. Yeah, I mean, maybe we're a bit biased, wanting the skills within the PMO person itself. However, if you're not that way inclined and don't want to go down that route of like, and we're talking some pretty deep data analytics types, data science stuff, but actually you might not want to go down that route. But thanks, you know, just for a quick poll, those were the results. So yeah, half of you think do it in the person, less think essential team, 2 of you are other, and I'd love you to put in into the comments why you picked other. It's going to be coming, you know, we're going to be bringing up this you know, all the time. I think it's going to be a really interesting journey, and just there's always some new tech that got shared. This was one end plan. If you've not seen this one, check this out. This is how you put your schedules and use, you know, AI to produce it. You can have a contract document and bang it in there and it'll give you a schedule. That's absolutely fantastic. And if you're looking for a theme tune for your PMO, there is something called UDIO, which allows you to basically come up with any kind of...
Every month we click on my PMO hot house time, sharing secrets, tricks and tips, feeling fine. Lindsay, Eileen and John leading the dance, they go from the house of...
Moving on, Eileen, to finish.
Okay, I didn't know that was coming. Right then, just I was at a client workshop, obviously all blurred out because it's not going to necessarily share that with them. Lindsay, could just do kind of your 2 clicks that we've got with it, but it was really interesting. We were asked to go and do some stuff around a particular topic, and as ever during lunchtime and coffee time, we got into lots of conversation about kind of what they were trying to do and kind of how much we were doing it. But the one thing that came out was they'd lost their PMO sponsor. And what they were trying to do was kind of, instead of doing what we would always advocate, understand your PMO vision objectives. Lindsay's already talked a bit about that today. And then define your services that kind of help you achieve that. They will go the other way. And they will say, we do all of these services. This must be why we're here. And they were really, really, really struggling. And essentially the message they took away was actually, until you've got that agreement about why you're there, why somebody's paying your wages and is going to continue to want to pay your wages, it has to come PMO vision and objectives first, and then the services that come underneath it. Short and sweet. And last night I was out in Birmingham. I don't know whether you can see in the top 6 side, they're building that. It doesn't look as though, because it looks like it's kind of fallen down Birmingham. They're getting ready for the Christmas market. Christmas is upon us, guys. And I went to listen. They were talking about sustainability and project management. And I know we've done quite a bit about sustainability PMOs, and there's going to be more coming at the conference and what have you. But yesterday, it stopped being an academic exercise and became kind of something that I kind of felt a bit more. And if you haven't looked at the UN Sustainability Development Goals, all 17 of them, it is really interesting just to have a look and start thinking about, well, what do we do in our organisation to embed these into projects? It's an absolutely great start to just having a look and really understanding what this sustainability thing we're all looking at. And then finally, you just go back one, please, Lindsay. One more back. Right then. This was Wednesday night in London. Look, the world seems to have come back. Now, I recognise it's not a Monday night, so people might still be doing Tuesday, Wednesdays and Thursdays, but the world seems to be coming out again. And if you press the button, Lindsay, and what Lindsay have shown, we've done lots of things this month, and we're very privileged to do an awful lot of them, and I agree with that. But get out and about, join in, because what happens is you start linking up and joining the dots. So this is a lovely bit of sculpture at Liverpool Street. If you listen to some of the things without planning, we've talked about a number of kind of key themes that are coming up in customer events, in terms of sponsors events, in terms of conversations on LinkedIn. There really there's a number of key elements. I mean, get out there, talk to as many people as possible, and just get involved.